Alright guys, I wanted to take a look at 3 different real popular cylinder heads. I'm really sorry I don't have a DED head right now because I'd really like to throw that in the mix. But these are some of the most popular now. Starting here on the right, this is what you call the big valve head. Now, they start with a Tillotson casting. Or any casting. You could start with an old Predator. You could start with a Honda, any kind of clone you want. That one just happens to be a Tillotson. What they've done here, they've gone inside there and ported and polished that guy. Now we'll have to get some light in here. But if you can see, they did a real nice job porting that thing. And they took that drop off that you would see right down in there and turned that into a really nice radius. Now they call that the short side. They widened the runner out just a little bit. They detailed it around the valve guide. I mean, they weren't playing around with this head. They treated it like a real cylinder head when they ported it. They also put some dual valve springs on there and 5mm valves. Now, over here on the exhaust side, I think you can get a little better picture of that. They went in, same deal. They left a pretty smooth finish in the exhaust. They got rid of that drop off, put some stainless valves in there. And now, while it doesn't look like they did the chamber, they did put in 32 intakes and 28 exhaust. So that is your big valve head. And they did a pretty nice job on it. Now they didn't go crazy. You can see a lot of the times you'll see these heads where they're ported damn near out to the edge and you hardly got any room for a gasket. And I can see people doing that. I understand, but that's not where you pick up flow. The places where you're actually going to pick up airflow and feel a noticeable difference or see it on the flow bench is where it's hard to put the grinder, and that's way down inside there. Now, if I could pull the valves out for you, I'd show you what they do in the bowl area there, but they cleaned this thing up really nice. They did a pretty good job. And this head, complete with the casting, the valves, the dual springs, the keepers, the retainers, everything will run you about $300 from Go Power Sports. Maybe your independent guy does a little nicer job. He's a little more proud of his work. He might charge a little bit more, but this could be had for about $300. We've seen the MoFlow. This is a billet head from MoFlow. This is the 18cc version. And it is absolutely fantastic, absolutely beautiful. It is just a work of art. I've got to put the inner springs back in it. We pulled this head off the 236 because I just didn't like the way that the rocker arms were contacting the tips of the valves. And if I can get away without running lash caps, I'm going to do it. I don't like them. I've never liked them on anything. So we're going to give that a shot. So what I ended up doing was buying a set of gauge rockers, and we'll show you that in the next video, the difference between the EC Rev rockers and the gauge rockers. Now those gauge rockers have a little bit bigger roller, and there's no way they're going to contact, the body of that rocker anyway is going to contact that valve stem. It's going to be all roller, and I don't think they're going to hit the retainers. I think they're going to work just fine. So, we'll show you that in the next video. One of the greatest things about this head is the combustion chamber. A lot of the times you'll see a little ridge around the valve seat, around the valve. It kind of disrupts flow. That is not present here. I mean, that CNC machine goes to work all the way down to the seat. That chamber is really, really nice. And this is a 32 intake, 25mm exhaust. Now, Most people would, first thing they'd want to do is put a bigger exhaust valve in there, and I get that. I wanted to do that with my 14cc head, and I'm telling you now, I believe it was a mistake. Now, on a 3-inch bore motor where you've got room to lay that chamber out, right in that area, open that chamber up a little bit, open that chamber up there a little bit, that, you know, that might help you. But putting a bigger valve in that chamber without doing any modifications to it, I mean, for one, that matches the 72 millimeter bore. So on a 212, you're flowing into the top of the deck. It's useless. And on a 72, all you're doing by putting a bigger valve in there is shrouding it with the chamber, and you're not going to pick up any flow in that area. So that's the MoFlow on that side, and you've seen this thing in a previous video. Now this guy, I just picked up this guy today from my cylinder head guy and friend. I've known him 25 years. This is the EC EVO cast head, and it was a little rough. I mean, this is, believe it or not, a brand new head. It looks like it's been kicked around a little bit. This is a 3227, and he did quite a bit of port work to it. Look at that runner. That is a long runner. He polished up the chamber pretty good. Now this one doesn't have springs on it. I can take the valves out for you, and we can have a look inside. Yes, it does seat. Take this little rubber band off of here. We'll pop the intake, stainless intake, stainless exhaust, 5 millimeter. And let's take a look inside. Now, this was all done by hand. That head is a work of art. Beautiful short side radius. Lots of attention to detail in that bowl. Beautiful transition on the exhaust port, nice radius. One thing about a good cylinder head guy will not get crazy with the grinder and just start arbitrarily hacking metal away. This head is going to flow really, really good. And it's matched for a 72 millimeter bore. So 72 and larger, guys. You could run it on a 70. It's not going to hurt anything. You do get a little bit of valve shrouding there. So a bigger bore would help with the exhaust. Putting a bigger valve in there would net you nothing. That's the EC cast head, and that's really something to think about. Now, these do come a little rougher, and they do appear to need a little bit of work with a grinder when you get them. But man, for a minimal amount of work, your gains are huge. Now, this has got a full round intake runner. So this one, I mean, look at that thing. That is not your typical D-shaped runner. I think for this one, we are either going to run the round spigot, or we are going to buy the EC manifold and go from there. But we'll get this on a motor pretty soon. We've got another set of crankcases coming, and if my first set ever comes back from the machine shop, we'll have our 3-inch motor to put one of these on. Although I'm not holding my breath. But there's a comparison of some pretty damn good heads. Hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll have some more neat content for you pretty soon.